Okay, good morning, everyone. Our next lesson is going to be based on Google Forms. I know some of you might have used this part of the Google software and some of you have not. However, I think all of you have taken a Google survey of some sort. Actually, last week you guys took one. So I'm going to show you how to use it, and I'm going to show you how to create your own form in the form of a survey, and also how you can gather information and how nicely this software gathers that information for you so that you can assess the information that you gather. So first thing you guys need to do is make sure that you're signed into Google. Please make sure you are signed into Google. Once you are, just search on Google Forms in your Chrome browser. Let's click on the first link, Google Forms. And then the next thing you can do is just go to Google Forms. Okay, and you can see inside my Google Forms, I have a lot of different forms that were created or shared with me. I use this tool all the time. I'm going to show you an example of how I used Google Forms when we first started the student store to gather information about what we should offer and so forth with the student store. So the first thing you guys are going to do is hit your plus. Okay, and you always want to give your form a title, a descriptive title. So this one is just going to be student store survey. Okay, and then with your title, you always want to give a little set of instructions or give your user the purpose of why they may complete this survey. So I like to say, please take the time and complete our survey, to determine what we should offer at our student store. Okay, I like to be courteous when I do this as well. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to start off with questions, and you want to start off with like these screener questions. And screener questions are usually, sometimes it's your name, your grade, your gender, your age, because what happens is if you gather that information, people can use it later on to kind of filter the information. So I can see, okay, how many females answered my survey? Do they have other preferences that are different than what the males that answered my survey? So the first thing I'm going to do is I always like to number my questions. I'm just going to do name here. So I'm going to require them that they put their name in my survey. And this question is just simply a short answer, and I'm going to leave it at that. Okay. And I'm going to say required. Move this little button over to required. That makes it so that they can't go on to the next question without answering question number 1. Okay. Next thing, if I can slide over, I'm going to add another question. And actually, this is out of order. I'm going to pull this down. Okay. Number 2, I'm going to give another screener question. I'm just going to say grade. Okay. And under grade, I'm just going to start by typing 9th. Okay. And this is nice because it kind of does an add all here. So I'm just going to say add all. And that's a multiple choice type question. And I'm going to make that required as well. Now, I'm going to take a moment to talk to you about types of questions. There are 2 types of questions, open-ended and closed-ended. And an open-ended question would be like a short answer, an essay, where you can get a variety of different questions, or different answers, rather. A closed-ended are like your multiple choice, your check boxes, your drop down. We really want to try and use as many as possible as the closed-ended questions because we want specific answers. I don't want to give a open-ended question, what should we offer at the school store, because I'm going to get all kinds of answers. Okay. And then my next screener question is, I want to know gender. And I'm just going to say that. Okay. So now I'm just going to start getting into the nitty-gritty of questions. And I want to think to myself, okay, what kind of information do I want to be returned to me? I basically want to know, okay, what types of things we want to offer at the school store, when we should be open, if people are even going to come and buy something at the school store. So I'll have to think about those kinds of things when I'm phrasing my questions. Oops, I'm going to make this required. So my next question is going to be, I'm going to ask them, number 4, do you buy breakfast at the school? Question mark. And I'm going to do an add all, and then I'm going to take this maybe and make it sometimes. And I did that because if the types of things that we might offer might be breakfast items. And as you know, we do have breakfast items at the store. I'm going to ask about lunch now. Do you buy the school's lunch or pack your own? Question mark. Notice capital letters at the beginning of every single one of my sentences. I have question marks. I'm going to give this yes. I'm going to do a no. And I'm going to do a sometimes. Required. Okay. All right. Next question. Number 6. Do you buy anything, from the vending machines? Because I know that's my main competitor there. I'm going to do an add all, change my maybe to a sometimes. Okay. And I'm going to pull this as a required. Okay, and what's nice about this is that since it's Google Drive, it's constantly saving, so I don't have to worry about losing information. In fact, before I go any further, I want to come up here and title my Google form. As soon as I click on that, it'll pull in the title that I already made my original form to begin with. So there's my title, and you could pull it into, move your folder into your Drive if you have to. Okay, my next question is going to be, this keeps going down to the bottom here, number 7. If you said yes to question 6, what do you buy from the vending machines? I guess you could say yes or sometimes to question 6. And then I'm going to tell them check all that apply, because this particular one, I'm going to use check boxes. So I'm allowed to create more options. You can check everything. So I'm not going to list everything I listed, but I'm going to do soda, which we don't have soda, but juice, sports drinks, granola bars, candy. Okay, so they're going to check all that apply there. Okay, now I'm not going to add on any more questions. Actually, I'm going to add one more question. At the end of a survey, sometimes it's okay to ask one open-ended question, just so you can get some other suggestions. It's just that with open-ended questions, it's hard to evaluate the information. But I'm going to ask maybe, do you have any suggestions as to what to offer at the store? Or do I like that question? Do you have any additional suggestions? How about that? As to what to offer at the store. Okay. And that could be a paragraph type question. Okay. Question mark. Required. Okay. Okay, so you have, once you build all your questions, you have them in a logical order, you have the proper questions that you wanted to ask. in the proper sequence. The next thing you could do is kind of jazz this up a little bit, and you could put in under theme, you could change the color, or you can upload an image under the theme. They have some built-in images already. I'm just going to pick jelly beans, which doesn't make that much sense. Actually, I should pick something that makes sense, huh? There was a school store one in here. This is kind of a cafe one. Food and dining, maybe. Put this one in. Insert. You want to put something in that makes sense. Okay, so then that becomes your background for the store. If I can scroll up here, you could see that this is in the background of it. Okay, you could also see that you can kind of change color schemes, change font styles if you want to, but you want to keep the same type of font throughout. All right, so the next thing is that you're ready to send out the survey. Before you send out the survey, you always want to preview it and read through it so that it makes sense. And you're reading through to make sure that everything's spelled correctly, that if you're asking a question, you're putting a question mark in, that your information, your choices are correct and they're spelled correct. You notice I have capital letters here, capital here. Okay. All right, so that looks good. So that's how it's going to appear to your user. And then you just kind of, you come up here, okay, to go back into the editing mode. Then if you're ready to send it out, you can hit send, okay? Now, you can select automatically collect respondents from Ligonier School District so that when somebody answers it for within our school district, you'll get you'll get their email as well. You could send it to specific people through email. Okay. You can, what I like to do is create a link. That's what I do a lot. Shorten the link, and you could copy and paste that link into another form, into an email, okay, that you can send out. Let me see. Go back into send. The other thing you could do is add collaborators on it if you want other people involved in sending the survey in the first place. Okay, so that's how you send it out. Additionally, under settings over here, you may want to do something called limit to one response, because that allows your users to just respond to it once so it doesn't skew your data. All right. And then I would not select these because this allows the person that's taking it, this allows them to edit their responses. Okay, so you don't want to do that, but limit to one response is probably a good idea. And you don't have to restrict it to Ligonier School District. You can just even send it out. Your guys are going to be having at least 10 people take your survey, so they may not be within the Ligonier Valley School District. But you could send them the link. So you may want to say, get rid of restrict users to Ligonier Valley School District. Okay. Okay, so that's how you create a survey using Google Forms. All right, now I'm going to show you what it looks like once people answer your survey. So I have the original survey over here. Actually, here's my original survey, and that's what it looks like. Let me get into. Oh, goodness. Okay. All right, here's my original survey. And I want you to see here, when you hit responses, you'll get something called responses. And you can see who's responding to your survey down here because it collected all the emails, okay? It collected all the emails, and then as you see the different questions, it actually pulls in graphs and charts for you. So I could see that most of my